What if the person helping to find two missing children was actually the one who took them? Welcome to Sherlock Mode. On a warm summer day in August 2002, the quiet village of Soham in England was about to become the center of the biggest search operation Britain had ever seen. Two best friends were about to disappear, and their story would change how we protect children forever. Holly Wells and Jessica Chapman were typical 10-year-old girls. They loved playing together, giggling about school friends, and supporting their favorite football team, Manchester United. On August 4th, they spent a perfect summer day at Holly's house in Red House Gardens. The girls were inseparable. Holly had blonde hair and a bright smile that could light up any room. Jessica had dark hair and was known for her infectious laugh. They had been best friends since they were tiny, sharing secrets and dreams like only children can. That evening, Holly's family was having a barbecue in their back garden. The smell of grilled burgers filled the air, and the sound of children's laughter echoed through the neighborhood. It was the kind of evening that parents treasure, watching their children play without a care in the world. At exactly 5:04 p.m., Holly's mother took what would become the last photograph of the two girls together. They were wearing matching red Manchester United shirts, standing close together with huge smiles on their faces. Neither girl knew that this innocent moment would soon become evidence in a murder investigation. The girls asked if they could walk to the local sports center to buy some sweets. Their parents, feeling safe in their small village where everyone knew everyone, agreed. After all, what could possibly happen in Soham? It was the kind of place where children rode their bikes freely and neighbors watched out for each other. At 6:30 p.m., a neighbor who knew the girls well saw them crossing Sand Street. They seemed happy and carefree, probably chatting about the sweets they were going to buy. This would be the very last time anyone would see Holly and Jessica alive. As the sun began to set, Holly's parents Nicola and Kevin Wells expected their daughter to return home. The barbecue was winding down, and it was nearly bedtime. But Holly didn't come back. Neither did Jessica. By 8:30 p.m., panic set in. Holly's parents discovered both girls were missing and immediately called the police. In that moment, their worst nightmare began. The safe, quiet world of Soham was about to be shattered forever. Within hours, the entire village mobilized. Neighbors grabbed flashlights and joined police officers in searching every garden, every shed, every possible hiding place. The girls' parents, Sharon and Leslie Chapman, and Nicola and Kevin Wells, appeared on television pleading for help. The search grew massive. Over 500 volunteers and police officers from 3 different counties joined the hunt. Helicopters buzzed overhead, search dogs sniffed through fields, and divers searched ponds. But there was no trace of Holly and Jessica. The media attention was incredible. News vans lined the streets of Soham. Reporters from around the world descended on the small village. Even Manchester United star David Beckham made a public appeal, begging the girls to come home. One man seemed particularly helpful during the search. Ian Huntley was the caretaker at Soham Village College, where the girls would start secondary school in September. He appeared calm and concerned, offering assistance to police and even speaking to reporters. Huntley told police he had seen the girls walk past his house around 6:15 p.m. He seemed genuinely worried about them. On television interviews, he appeared emotional, saying he hoped they would be found safe. The community trusted him. After all, he worked with children. Days turned into a week. The nation held its breath. Missing person posters with Holly and Jessica's smiling faces appeared everywhere. Churches held prayer vigils. The girls' parents never stopped believing they would come home. But then, on August 17th, 13 days after the girls vanished, a jogger made a horrible discovery near Lake and Heath Air Base in Suffolk, about 30 miles from Soham. He noticed 2 disturbed areas of earth that looked suspicious. Police rushed to the scene. What they found would break the hearts of everyone who had hoped and prayed for the girls' safe return. The bodies of Holly Wells and Jessica Chapman had been discovered in a ditch, hidden among trees and undergrowth. The news devastated Britain. 2 innocent little girls, full of life and dreams, had been brutally murdered. But who could have done such a terrible thing? The answer would shock everyone, especially those who had trusted him with their children's safety. police immediately launched a murder investigation. They began examining every piece of evidence, every witness statement, every possible clue. Forensic scientists worked around the clock, knowing that somewhere in the evidence lay the identity of a killer. The breakthrough came from tiny fibers, invisible to the naked eye. Forensic experts found fibers from Ian Huntley's carpet on the girl's clothing. Even more damning, they found fibers from the girl's Manchester United shirts on Huntley's carpet at his home. This evidence was devastating. It meant the girls had been inside Huntley's house. The man who had appeared so helpful, so concerned, so trustworthy, had been lying all along. The community was stunned. How could someone they trusted be capable of such evil? On August 17th, the same day the bodies were found, police arrested Ian Huntley on suspicion of murder. They also arrested his girlfriend, Maxine Carr, who was a teaching assistant at the girls' primary school. The people who were supposed to protect children had become their worst nightmare. As police investigated Huntley's background, they discovered something terrifying. He had been accused of rape and sexual assault multiple times before. But because police databases weren't connected, nobody knew about his dark past when he got the job at the school. Huntley had been investigated 8 times by police in different areas, but each force kept their information separate. If they had shared what they knew, he never would have been allowed near children. The system had failed Holly and Jessica in the worst possible way. The trial began in November 2003. The entire nation watched as prosecutors laid out the evidence against Ian Huntley. The forensic evidence was overwhelming, but Huntley continued to deny murdering the girls. In court, Huntley claimed the girls had died accidentally. He said they had come to his house asking about Maxine Carr, and that Jessica had accidentally fallen into his bath and drowned. He claimed Holly had died when he tried to prevent her from screaming. But the evidence told a different story. The prosecution argued that Huntley had lured the girls into his house with evil intentions. The fiber evidence proved they had been in his home, and forensic experts found no evidence to support his accident story. Maxine Carr had provided Huntley with a false alibi, claiming she was with him when the girls disappeared. In reality, she was visiting her mother in another town. She had lied to police to protect her boyfriend, not knowing the horrible truth about what he had done. The jury listened to weeks of testimony. They heard from forensic experts who explained how the fiber evidence proved the girls had been in Huntley's house. They heard from police officers who described finding the bodies. They heard from heartbroken parents who would never see their daughters again. On December 17, 2003, after careful deliberation, the jury reached their verdict. Ian Huntley was found guilty of murdering both Holly Wells and Jessica Chapman. The courtroom erupted as justice was finally served for the 2 innocent girls. Huntley was sentenced to life in prison with a minimum of 40 years. Maxine Carr received 42 months for helping to pervert the course of justice. She served only 21 months before being released with a new identity for her own protection. But the story doesn't end there. The failure of police forces to share information about Huntley led to massive changes in how Britain protects children. Lord Michael Bichard conducted a public inquiry into what went wrong. The Bichard inquiry found that Huntley should never have been able to work with children. If police forces had shared their information, his history of allegations would have prevented him from getting the job at Soham Village College. As a direct result of Holly and Jessica's murders, the government created the Police National Database, connecting all police information across Britain. They also introduced mandatory criminal record checks for anyone working with children. The enhanced disclosure system now means that anyone applying to work with children must undergo thorough background checks. What happened to Holly and Jessica led to changes that have protected countless other children. Today, Soham has slowly healed from its trauma. A memorial garden was created for Holly and Jessica, where people still leave flowers and toys. The village learned that evil can hide behind the most ordinary faces, but they also learned the power of community. Holly's and Jessica's families have shown incredible strength over the years. They established charities to help other families affected by crime and worked to ensure their daughters' deaths led to positive changes that would protect other children. Ian Huntley remains in prison, where he has faced attacks from other inmates who despise crimes against children. He has never fully explained what really happened to Holly and Jessica on that August evening, taking his secrets with him behind bars. The case changed how police investigate missing children cases. The massive search operation that followed Holly and Jessica's disappearance became a model for future investigations, showing how communities can come together in times of crisis. Forensic science also advanced because of this case. The painstaking work of examining thousands of tiny fibers under microscopes showed how even the smallest evidence can solve the biggest crimes. The media coverage of the case was massive, but it also raised questions about how missing children cases should be reported. The intense spotlight helped with the search, but also created enormous pressure on the families and community. What makes this case so chilling is how Huntley fooled everyone. He appeared on television appealing for information about the missing girls, knowing all along that he had killed them. He helped with searches, knowing exactly where the bodies were hidden. The psychological profile of Huntley revealed a man skilled at deception and manipulation. He had a history of inappropriate relationships and had moved around different areas to escape his past, always managing to charm new employers. The location where the bodies were found was significant. Huntley had burned the girls' clothing and other evidence, but forensic experts were still able to piece together what had happened through scientific analysis. The trial revealed that Huntley had initially planned to claim he had never seen the girls that evening. Only when witnesses placed them near his house did he change his story to the accident claim that the jury rejected. The investigation involved over 1,000 police officers and cost millions of pounds. It showed the enormous resources that society will commit to finding justice for murdered children and protecting other young lives. 20 years later, the names Holly Wells and Jessica Chapman are still remembered across Britain. Their story serves as a reminder that we must always be vigilant in protecting our children from those who would harm them. The most shocking twist in this tragic case was that the monster everyone was searching for had been hiding in plain sight all along. Ian Huntley, the helpful school caretaker who appeared on television pleading for the girls' safe return, was the very man who had taken their lives. Evil had worn the mask of someone the community trusted with their children's safety. If you enjoyed unraveling this mystery, like and subscribe to Sherlock Mode.